Hi, welcome to this week's conversation, which is about making changes for the better in our lives. So, if you don't know me, my name is Jill. My company is called Saraswati Lifestyle, and I help people on their healing journeys who are looking for more information and more opportunities to work with their divine feminine. I do this through a couple different ways. I offer dance classes, which in my opinion helps us embody our inner divine feminine. It's also obviously good for our physical health. I offer tarot readings. I do distance Reiki. I also offer group dance classes, and I have a coaching program. So if you want to find out anything more about those things, the links are at the bottom. So everything that I do on social media relates back to those things and to empowering ourselves to make our lives better. That doesn't necessarily mean that I think that there's no value in the structures of the society that we live in also making changes for the better. My focus is on how you can personally empower yourself to make changes in your life. So I think that we can all agree that we are moving from a time, we're going through a lot of shifts right now. And in my opinion, as someone who works with the goddess and divine feminine energy, what I perceive is that we are moving from a time where an unhealthy masculine way of living was the norm with our society, and we are moving into a more balanced way of living that also incorporates not only healing how we express our masculinity, but also being able to express our femininity in healthier ways as well. Every person has aspects of masculine and the feminine within them. This is different than men and women and male versus female. It has nothing to do with that. So the shadow masculine traits that we have been living under, their tyranny, that has been sort of like our cultural norms for the last several millennia, are things like having negative expectations about taking risks, living with a lot of restrictions and control, not having a lot of options, always having the pressure of scarcity and the stress that that creates on your mind. There's not going to be enough. And one of the big reasons that this is a big part of our culture is because for a long time, that was how we lived. People lived through major wars in the last couple of centuries. People did not have access to all of the food and resources and things that I know I personally have been lucky enough to grow up with. And what that means when you grow up with those basic survival needs taken care of, it gives you the opportunity to work on other aspects of yourself and really engage in personal development, which is a wonderful thing. We should all be grateful for, to have that opportunity. So everything I just described is sort of the norms of where we have been, and where we're heading as a society is really towards more acceptance, more diversity, more openness, more abundance, more allowance, more ease, and more pragmatic optimism. Like we want to acknowledge that the glass is half full, which means there's still work to do, but there are ways to look at it in a positive light that keeps us in a good headspace. And that's really like the point of the conversation that I wanted to have today. So we have sort of, in my opinion, we've been convinced that life is supposed to be a struggle, and I've never agreed with that. First of all, the things that are really meant for you, whether they're friends or jobs or the hobbies that you really excel at, that you could turn into something more serious, all of those things come with ease. Not to say that there aren't challenges along the way, but when you are a vibrational match with an activity, a person, another thing, I'm thinking of that graphic, of like two givers get together and they water each other and grow and grow. It's like that. It's like there's this sense of expansion versus when you are somewhere that is not necessarily making use of your skills or honoring you in the way that every human deserves to be honored, then it creates this inner struggle. It creates this chaos. It creates this discordance within us. And the problem is that we have been taught that chaos and that struggle is a part of life. And I don't agree with that. I think that it comes and goes. We can't hide from it, but it shouldn't be the goalpost for our goals, the things that we want in our life for ourselves. If something is creating a lot of chaos in you and it's creating a lot of struggle, you need to look at why. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe there are certain mental blocks, limiting beliefs that you have within you that are making this thing a struggle when it's not supposed to be. There's a lot of different things that can be going on beneath the surface. But basically, struggle, that sense of struggle and inner discordance is a sign. It's the universe trying to redirect us. So when we're in that moment of redirection or of trying to make a change for ourselves for the better, because we see that it's like, I was in a position, or I had a friendship or a relationship where it didn't feel good. I felt, I didn't feel like I could be myself. I felt really tired after spending time with that person. Like, this can apply to anything, people, work, hobbies, other things. It's one thing to recognize that you want to make a change, that you're not happy and that you want to make a change for the better. But it's also really important when you're in that empty space of deciding that you want to make a change and that you're going to move forward, is that you need to release that chaos and that inner struggle that is associated with the thing. So let's say that it's like, I'm not happy in my job and I feel like it's really exhausting and it doesn't take advantage of what I'm good at, and actually the job requires me to be good at things that don't come naturally to me. If you were having a conversation with a friend and they were telling you about this, you would naturally say something like, maybe it's not the best fit for you. Maybe you should try and find something better. And that's perfectly appropriate. And that's great. I want to point out to you today that you can't take that energy of struggle and disappointment and scarcity with you into the change that you are trying to make, because you're going to just attract things that are of the same vibration. If you go into, looking for a new job with the same belief that you have to do something that you're not great at, or that you can't do what you're good at, then you're just going to invite the same experiences over and over. I think relationships are a really good example of this too, because we all see within ourselves and within others that a lot of people, until they learn the lesson they're supposed to learn, they date many different iterations of the same person. And those different partners are showing up with those qualities because we are seeking them out as lessons that we want to correct. But if you don't realize that it's a lesson and you don't realize what you need to change, then you just stay on this wheel of karma forever. And that's not actually what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be moving into ease and abundance and allowance and expansion. So I hope that makes sense. Don't take your struggles of the past into the future. Don't expect your future to be different than the past that you want to change if you are not cleansing yourself of all of the things that got you in that negative situation to begin with. So different ways that you can try to transmute the energy is release the need to control other people in the situation, the need to control outcomes. I'll continue with the career example, is you might say to yourself that it's the employer is the issue, the work environment is the issue. If I had this condition and that condition and this condition fulfilled, then I could do a great job. But it's you're taking all of those old world conditions, like placing conditions and expectations and constraint and expecting things to go badly, you're taking all of that and you are coloring how you relate to the situation with those vibrations. So it's not going to get better. If you want the situation to get better, you have to align yourself with the outcome that you want in order for the outcome to come and find you. You might be, in a better position to say, you know what, like, yeah, this job isn't the best thing for me and it's not exactly where I want to be, but I'm going to make the best of it while I'm here. And I know that it's not forever and I'm going to learn everything that I can and do my best. And this is a lesson in my life. This is one experience. And when it's done, it's done. And what that does is first of all, it's better for your mental health and your physical health because it takes this stress out of your body. Because acceptance and passivity in situations like this can be very helpful. Obviously not in every situation, but when it comes to transmuting and making a change, that pause is really, really important. It's also important for you to forgive yourself and others for being themselves and for past mistakes. What good is it going to do you if you wake up and go to that job every day saying, I hate this job. I don't want to be doing this. This isn't fun. I'm exhausted. Every minute is going to go by slower. You're not going to, enjoy the positives that the universe does send your way, whether it's, having certain interactions that help you get through the day or whatever it is, just being able to keep yourself calm in a situation that doesn't align with your energy, that kind of thing. You, in order to access those things, you need to enter a place of calm and forgiveness. Make a game plan from a place of calm and not chaos. So again, like going forward, let's say you decide like, okay, I've had it. I want to change jobs. When you are looking for inspiration as to what kind of a direction do you want to take your career in, or what do you think might be the next step that is better aligned with you in your career, or what kinds of things are around you right now that could help you get to where you need to be. If you are in a space of negative expectations and of constraint and stress, you're not going to be able to see the possibilities that are in front of you. Life is a big head game, and staying in those outdated mentalities don't serve us in our evolution. There is always another job. There's always something to do. Look at how many people, myself included, are self-employed now online and compared to 10 years ago. I was so inspired by my peers when I started to see them making that jump into self-employment. And I said for years, I'm going to be like the other millennials. If they can do it, I can do it. I'm going to go work on the beach. So, like that's a much better way for me to achieve my goals and get there by saying you can do it. I believe in myself than being like, oh, I wish that I could have that life, but there's this in the way and there's that in the way. Not to say that there haven't been challenges and that I'm not still, overcoming certain things. Life is a spiral of learning. There's always something. But if you don't put yourself in that calm, cool, collected, expansive, positive headspace, you're never going to figure out what those potential solutions are. And again, I'm not saying that mindset is a big part of it. It's not the only part of it. There's also, doing, like, I'm just touching the surface of one concept to give you an idea of what it is I offer. The reason why I mentioned Reiki and Tarot at the beginning is because there's often a lot of spiritual work and reflection that needs to go into correcting these mindsets. And I also think that, like I said, physical workouts and dance classes, I obviously focus on the feminine. My dance classes are Egyptian dance, also known as belly dance, very feminine. It's a whole package. It's a whole lot of things that get undertaken when you decide to make a big shift like this with your mindset. It doesn't happen overnight. Be patient with yourself. Keep loving yourself. I believe in you. Keep in touch. See you soon.